step on your mermaid tail. Hey guys, Courtney Mermaid here and welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be kind of a special video. You will have noticed there's been a bunch all back to back. They are all sort of themed around my trip to the California Mermaid Convention. So I wanted to do this, I wanted to film this before I leave so that I can edit it and have it posted on Sunday, because Sunday is most likely going to be the reveal of my new tail and I want to make sure that everybody gets to see it all at once. I don't know, I just kind of feel like that's the most appropriate way to do it because I haven't really shared it with you guys. I've shared it with the Patreon pod, but I haven't really shown you guys yet. So they got to see the disaster that happened and they also got to see the tail and all of that good stuff. And the look is inspired by the fact that I don't want to overdo the makeup because my skin has been a gong show and I want to, you know, avoid more breaking out. So I have like a treatment on my face, but we're just powering through because hashtag mermaid life. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so if you are new to my channel and you don't know what the heck any of this is, I am a mermaid content creator, more or less, here on YouTube and around. I'm also a mermaid tail maker. My kind of look came together in 2011, the kind of color scheme that I decided to go with. Not every mermaid decides to do this where they pick like a color and just stick to it. I know a few who have. This has just been kind of my zone, the greens and blues. If I remember, I will leave a link to the last video I did where I showed my entire mermaid tail collection, so you guys can check that out. That's a good video. I have on the floor a couple of different tails to show you. So let me introduce you guys to Chester. Chester, everybody, Chester. And Chester is about 2 years old. You can see some of the making of videos for Chester. They're gonna be under like my workshop playlist. Again, if I remember, I'll include links to some of these things. But yeah, so Chester is a second generation tail of mine. I get my very own scale pattern, so you won't be able to get this scale pattern if you get a tail from me. I designed this one just for me because I like something that's kind of not like such a classic looking scale, something that's not super realistic either, because I'm kind of nerdy and kind of toony and I kind of just sort of swim to my own my own rhythm, as it were. So Chester is the only second generation tail that I made. I also learned a lot from making this tail. So that's Chester. Now Chester, I wanted to have a little bit of a remake. Of course, because this is my business and I want to represent myself like 100% my best work. I do feel that Chester is among the best mermaid tails that I've made. I absolutely love the design that I did for this one. It's very me, it makes me very happy, it fits me very well. Chester, I swim in Chester a lot. So much, like, you can't actually really tell, but you'd actually have to see it in person to see that there's a little bit of wear and tear. Now this is like 2 years of like solid swimming, okay guys? Like I'm pretty, and I'm rough. Like I'm sorry Chester. I'm mean to my tails. So, but on purpose, right? Because Chester was one of the ones I made when I was still like product testing to make sure that I actually wanted to do this as like a job. I'm gonna apologize in advance. The sawing guy, there's nothing I can do about that, but every time I start talking, he starts sawing, so we're just powering through, guys. One day I'll live in a soundproof box and it'll be beautiful. So I wanted to just have the next generation of tail for me to wear so that if people wanted to be like, oh, is this what you make? Is this what you do? I could be like, yes, and this is a good example of what a G3 tail will look like. So that was the thinking behind that. I don't really need a new tail. Chester is still completely functional and completely perfect to swim in, and I love my Chester baby. And I had I had a couple of breakdowns thinking about making a new tail. Like, if you're not a mermaid, you're not gonna get it. If you are a mermaid and you're watching this, you're gonna get it. We get attached to the costumes that we swim in a weird kind of a way, because it gives us this like escape from reality, and we start to associate that with the tail itself. It's like, it's just a whole thing. Okay, so the first version, I tried to make something a little different for myself. Obviously staying within the greens and blues, but I thought I knew what I wanted. It ended up not being what I wanted, but I will show you guys anyways. I will introduce you to, this is Rosella. And Rosella is a beautiful tail, but Rosella is a pastel pony princess apparently, and when I wear it I don't feel like myself. This is probably the nicest, like, I mean, I said that Chester's probably the nicest tail I made, but this one of my recent tails, like, my scales line up so good on this one, and it looks good and it feels good and the seams were perfect. This tail gave me no headache to sew. It was a dream. And it looks beautiful. It does. It's a beautiful tail. And it fits me like really good, okay? And I hate it. I hate it. I'm sorry. I don't hate you, but I hate you. You're not what I was envisioning for myself. I just wasn't really, I'm not sure what I was thinking with this really light, like pastel-y kind of blue, but it just isn't me at all. And like what I should have done was something more like this all around the base. So Rosella sadly just didn't cut it. And the other thing that I did was I took my main fake texture. I used to have a texture on Chester, and I took that off of this one as well. And I also revamped the dots. I have, like Faith has affectionately called them, the dinosaur dots. But I have them, and I changed the brush that I was using, so it just doesn't look the same. And it bugged me so much. I ended up live streaming with the Patreon pod, and I was like crying, and it was dramatic, and those guys were like, Courtney, it's okay, you have time, you can fix it, it's gonna be fine, like don't freak out, it's gonna be good. So thank goodness for the Patreon pod. I love you guys. You got me through it and everything worked out and it was fine, but like, honest to Zeus, I was having a hardcore freak out. Rosella is going to be coming with me to the convention. I decided to do that because instead of making this a tail that's just never going to get used, what I plan to do is if somebody wants to see my tail up close, they want to try it out. They are obviously made to my measurements, and I am a big girl, like I'm tall, but there is a little bit of give and you can kind of work with it. So I figured having a tail that we could use just for that, so that I don't feel comfortable letting other people swim in my tail. That's not like a thing that I'm okay with. Again, like if you're a mermaid, you'll know. Okay, so that's Rosella. For the big reveal, the name I picked for the tail I'm about to show you has a story. So when I was younger, I think probably in grade 8, my grandmother and I went on this crazy road trip. It was just this beautiful, beautiful trip. It's one of my favorite adventures that I ever got to go on with my grandmother. And while we were away, Atlantis, Disney's Atlantis came out, and I got to see that with her in theaters. And it was this perfect night where it was like the theater, it was this town that was a little bit older. It had that sort of small town kind of feel that I'm so fond of. And you just felt so cozy. The theater was so comfortable. The seats, I remember being really comfortable. I loved the movie Atlantis. I'm a huge fan of that movie. And we got out and it wasn't raining, but it was like misting, but it was warm because it was summer. And I just have all of these really good feelings from that. And in the same way that like Chester makes me feel a certain way when I swim wearing that tail, I wanted to have like a vision that I could hold on to because, you know, I have some issues, okay? And I like to be able to keep a positive mental picture while I'm swimming. So the name I picked is Milo, okay? Milo, as in Milo of Milo and Kita, okay? And without any more, let me introduce you to Milo. Okay, so this is my newest baby. This is Milo. Milo came out exactly how I wanted it to, thank the gods for that. I opted to go for my rounded fringe again. You saw on Rosella, I actually gave her a very sharp, more fish-like fluke, and that's really cool for other people, but it wasn't me, and I just could feel that it wasn't me. So I went back to my roots and I did something a little bit more rounded, a little bit more Courtney Mermaid, you know what I'm saying? We brought back the dark. I upped the contrast of my of the texture on my fluke, so you can see that better. The thing you're gonna notice the difference between Rosella and Milo is my spots are back. So I literally went and I took Chester's file and I took the layer that had all of the little dots. I took that out. I resized it. I scaled it a little bit and tinkered with the opacity, but in addition to the softer, smudgier texture, you will see that my actual dots are back. I will never take them off again, I'm so sorry. So the main difference between this tail and my last tail is going to be the scale style. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this with my face in the way. The scales have changed. The shape is the same, but what I did was, instead of making them the Generation 2 scales where they had that really soft shading, I opted to do the G3 scales because I kind of just wanted to bring my tail up to date, as it were. So that's what I ended up doing with this, and I feel like that was a good call. In terms of color, we just went darker. I brought more of my turquoise back, which was something that I loved from my very first painted tail, which is nameless, sadly. I tinkered the waistband a little bit. Is not my skin color. I opted to keep it the same, like, fleshy yellow color that I had on Chester, because I just felt like it worked and it looked good, and it's gonna go really well with my top. So which I did make a new top and a dress. The one other thing that did change was I added a lot of sparkle. Milo is now absolutely been glitter bombed, so where Chester doesn't have any glitter or any like twinkle. So this is the new top. Yes, I now have a blended waist, front and back is also blended. I still do like the dark back and the light front because I feel like that's gonna match my tail really well, and overall I feel like that was just a good call. I also made myself a new dress. This is the first custom dress that I made for myself in my colors, and it's really pretty. I'm excited to show you guys pictures of me in it when I'm wearing it at the ball. But yeah, so this is gonna be the dress that I end up wearing. So I'm super excited for that. I feel like it all works really well together. The scales on this are like super cute, and it is going to be a fantastic adventure. All right guys, if you liked today's video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the pod and the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And now I still have one more video left to film, so I'm gonna get on that. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to sharing all of the video footage from my trip with you when I get back. So thank you so much for watching again, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Happy swimming! Bye!